The venerable, tried and true M50 version 1 with worn out grip. I've used this so much. It's got the 16mm Sigma 1.4 on there. Awesome lens for this camera. Over here we've got my preferred to carry all over the place. Lightweight, easy to carry, flip up screen, M200. Canon EOS M series, and this Sigma 16mm, even though it's quite big, wow, this is a low light beast. This thing turns this camera into a almost a night vision camera. It picks up low light so well with that, and you can get a real shallow depth of field, being that it's a 1.4, so it works really well with this Canon M50. So I do love the M50 so much that when the M200 came out, I came out with the M200. I was watching this. I didn't see a lot of the same professional reviews that came out over the M50. The M50 had lots of professional reviews that were very complimentary of this camera. However, when the M200 came out, it didn't seem to get that kind of fanfare. Didn't seem to get as much notoriety. I've only saw some smaller channels put reviews of this one up there, and then the bigger channels kind of brushed it off. It does, at first look, when you look at this dial back here, it looks like it's going to be missing a lot of the same features as the M50. It doesn't have the full, M50 has that full dial there with all the different settings from manual to auto to aperture priority to shutter priority and everything you could want on a mirrorless camera, an entry-level mirrorless camera. But the M200 came with this just a couple settings back here. So oh, it's going to be missing all of those settings. Dial here. You can actually hit everything you need when you put it in. Okay, of course you've got your auto, which will do everything for you. You've got your still feature for photography. You can just hit the button and get everything you need. You can dial in whichever shutter speed you're wanting to use. You can dial in your f-stop. So this camera really has a lot of advanced features, and you can control everything that you need to on this one. You've got when you go into your movie mode, you can choose go into and I love, again, with these Canon EFMs, I love the touch screen, everything you need to do. So you can go movie auto exposure, manual exposure, which is what I like to do. Sometimes the exposure is just not what I'm looking for. And then all you need to do, if you're going to change your shutter speed, okay, right now I'm shooting at 30, I'm doing a 1080-30, so I can hit here and stay at 60. If I want to go to 60 frames per second, I go up to 125, so I can dial in the appropriate shutter speed. And the f-stop, of course, with this one at 3.5 is as wide as I can get it on this one. But that's usually pretty good. You can also jump in and do manual ISO or auto. So, and you can start and stop your video recording feature with this thing too. So pretty good set of controls on this one. I cannot complain about this camera. This camera really has outperformed, and because this camera has, again, this huge sensor, huge aps-c sensor, huge for me. So you got to remember, in the digital world, I'm used to sensors like the Olympus Tough, like the Canon Vixia HFR 500. These sensors are the tiny little sensors. So this is what I'm used to. Even the GoPro, tiny little sensors. So to me, to have this little tiny camera that's essentially this same size, a little bit bigger than the Olympus Tough, but it's not waterproof, unfortunately. But It's got the huge sensor, so it's kind of like a Corvette, you know, a little car with a big, huge engine. So it's like the Corvette of cameras. And the lens that I like to use so much with it is the 22 millimeter. It just goes so well with it. With this one, I can turn it on go, take off the cap go, it's ready to roll. I've got f2, so very good low light or shallow depth of field. It's got all the features that I would need. However, this is where I was thinking that Canon this is where I was thinking Canon really needs to update this camera, because when you go into the menu on this one, let's see, I'll go into the movie here. Okay, let's go here. So the IS, the image stabilization, not available with attached lens. What? This is the perfect lens for this camera. It's small like the camera is. Why is IS unavailable with this one? So that's something that I wish Canon would address.
Any of the fast primes, whether it be the Canon 22 millimeter or the Sigma 16 millimeter f1.4, these fast primes, the same problem occurs on each one, and that is when you go to menu 6 there, IS, not available with attached lens. So the IS only seems to work with these slower aperture zoom lenses. I haven't found a fast prime that this will actually work with. So kind of annoying there. It'd be nice if they're not going to release anything else, any new cameras for this series, if they would kindly release some new firmware. Let's see what firmware I'm into now. Where am I at here? Firmware 1.0. So yeah, we need to come up with some new firmware. I just checked, and 1.0 is all they have on this one. So support even for firmware is not good. But love the menu systems. This menu system works better than my GoPro and Panasonic and anything else I have. I've heard it's better than Sony. I don't know. I don't own a Sony. Or a Sony aps-c, that is. So one of the nice things about this camera is that the memory card, let me move my little thing, memory card is right on the side. So if you have this on a tripod, you can change out your memory card just by getting into the side, which is usually something on a more of a DSLR cameras have that. So for a little compact camera to have that, it also has the HDMI inputs there for if you're going to do the I guess the streaming online or the Zoom calls or some type of online. I rarely use those, so I can't talk much about those. I know that there is some type of firmware there, or some type of software that Canon has that helps you do a clean HDMI out. That I wouldn't even care about. I don't care about clean HDMI out as long as people can see me. It's okay if they see. It's okay with me if they're seeing all of these extra buttons here. As long as they're seeing me for the whatever meeting we're in, it doesn't matter to me. So, but yeah, if you want to clean HDMI out, I know there's a way to do that. I just can't comment on it because I've not done that. Let's see how the sound sounds. Okay, so I'm recording now. I'm facing it at the GoPro 10. This is the audio, since there is no, we do have a, let's see how this sounds when we do have a flash, pop-up flash, but we have no microphone input on this thing. So mic input, you're on your own on that one. External audio recording, or just using what's in the camera. So this is how the camera sounds with me holding it at about 16 inches from my face. Okay, got that turned off. So that's the audio on that one. Let's see if there's anything else to mention on this one. There is a possibility here with each of these cameras, both the M50 and the M200, where you can put in this dummy battery. You close that. There's no charge in that battery, but then you have this little door to open up right here. And let's see if I can get this ready. An AC adapter goes with that, and you plug this in. Let's get that plugged in. There we go. Plug in your AC adapter, and now you've got unlimited power. As long as you've got AC power, this thing will stay on unless it overheats at some point, which I've never seen this thing even come close to overheating. Which also that probably wouldn't happen because 30-minute recording or 29 and 59-minute recording limit. So it is doubtful with the 30-minute recording limit that this thing would overheat. So even if you have it plugged in, you'll have to remember to stop, start again. You can hit your on-screen button. Okay, now I'm recording my content for whatever channel this is or whatever platform this is. Okay, now I hit, I gotta remember, when you're recording whatever's going on, if you're in front of the camera and you're doing stuff, working on the car, or you have multiple people with you running some type of funny skit, it's 30 minutes, we gotta stop and start again. There we go. So that is an annoying thing of these, all of the Canon cameras, not just the EFMs, all of the ones that I'm able to own, including my DSLR 90D. They all have that problem where they will hit a 30-minute recording limit and turn off. So that is something to keep in mind if you do stay in the Canon
system. This is my wish
system.
list, since I'm invested in the Canon EFM ecosystem, is for stabilization to work with all lenses. Right now, the M50 is stabilized with all of these prime lenses. Even if I adapt the nifty 50 EF or the EFS 24mm, if I adapt these from the DSLRs or adapt a full frame, any of these lenses, the stabilization works with the M50. Stabilization does not work with the the M200. Make these improvements on these cameras. Release an M51, an M300, or an M50 Mark III and an M200 Mark II. That gets a little confusing, but the next generations of these cameras, should Canon give them to us, would be stabilization to work with all lenses, not just the zoom lenses, but the stabilization to work with all EFM cameras. Lenses could have some. How about some downsampled 4K? You have a 4K cropped with autofocus, also an uncropped 2.7K downsampled from 4K. That would be the only, I guess, mirrorless camera that I can think of, aps-c, that would have a 2.7K. So that, I think there's a demand for that. A lot of people, 4K is just a little bit too big a file size. 2.7K is easier to work with. How about a 1080p at 120 frames per second for some better slow motion? All of those things I think Canon could easily put into these cameras in the next generation and sell a ton, make a lot of money for them with little amount of R&D. Weather sealing. I think just some polyurethane gaskets, some little rubber gaskets in certain places on each of these cameras would go a long way. So I think they could be weather sealed for a very minimal amount of money. And they could just advertise it as now weather sealed, similar to how Olympus says you can pour water over there. It's a little gasket O-ring around the lenses and some weather sealing. I think this would be a fantastic marketing selling point for these cameras. And the mic jack. How about have a mic jack for the M200? The M200 is so good, such a good camera. A little mic jack on this thing. It still has great audio. Don't get me wrong, this has great audio, but a mic jack would bring it to the next level. And I would definitely an M300 with a mic jack and 4K with autofocus and stabilization that works with all the lenses. I would definitely go for the audio sounds. I'm turning on my Cinco with plus 10 decibel shotgun mic on here. Let's fire that up.
So
okay,
this is the audio of me standing just above. I'm not in front of the microphone, the shotgun mic. I'm kind of out at a 45-degree angle from the shotgun mic. See how the audio sounds coming out of the M50 with its external audio. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3.
Now we are recording with the M200. This is the audio coming out of the M200 facing the M50. I'm standing at about a 45-degree angle, the same angle away from the M200 as I was the shotgun mic coming off the top of the M50. So this is the audio coming out of the M200. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Audio test complete. Because as of right now, I think that Canon might be losing the aps-c battle to the competitors. Sony is really moving up, but suddenly you can't find the Sonys in the stores. You can't find them online. You can't get the entire A6000. At the time I'm filming this, you can't find A6000 cameras other than used, and they're very high priced. They're higher priced used than these are new. So that is an opportunity for Canon to come in here and I think take a bite out of Sony and really improve these cameras, make them vastly superior to the competition. So the competitors include the Olympus Pen series. I think these cameras have, with the bigger sensor, they still have more to offer than the Olympus Pen, even though the Olympus Pen has some great stabilization. How about the Fuji X-T3? Yeah, that's a higher price though. You're going to pay more for it. Panasonic's GX series, again, you're paying more, and you have some of the same things with no mic jack. So you're kind of similar to this with a smaller sensor as the M200. The Sony ZV-1 is more of a point and shoot camera since it doesn't have interchangeable lenses. However, it's selling like hotcakes. So ZV-1 is taking some of the Canon's market share where this M200 should be. They could easily take that market share back from the ZV-1. ZV-1 is another one you can kind of find it, but it's hard to find. The ZV-E10, good luck finding that anywhere. Now it's used prices on eBay as it's being marked up used is ridiculous. It's double. You could buy two of these or one of each of these for the price of one used ZV-E10. The ZV-E10 going to have better autofocus in both of these, better 4K? Yes. However, Canon, you can do it. You can fix these. I have faith in you. You could fix these and make them. I still do love the fact that I can adapt all of my nice EF and EFS glass. I can adapt all of this onto my Viltrox adapter or a speed booster even. You can use a speed booster as well. Let's see here. Got that adapted on there, and then what you do is just change that out, and oh man, what a wonderful little setup here. Fantastic. You got a killer lens on a little killer lens here on this little M200. And let's see. With this lens right here, let's see if we can get this to work. Let's go to settings here. Let's go IS settings. Enable. We've got there we go. We've got enhanced and enabled IS. So the IS does work with all the zoom lenses. It just doesn't want to work with the fast primes apparently. That's the one it doesn't want to work with. But a fantastic little setup here. You can definitely take this and get some good footage of whatever you're trying to do. It's funny that where I carry this one, I get too much attention, and people are watching this too. You got to watch where you got to hold on to this because people are watching it, and it's getting you a lot of attention. However, when I have something like this configuration, if I carry the M50 around in this configuration with the light and the mic on top, yes, it's going to get a lot of attention. However, you take off the small rig cage here
and you just carry it around your neck with the one of these smaller EFM lenses, yeah, it doesn't get nearly as much attention. And the best at being nonchalant, if you got to be nonchalant about what you're doing, the M200, taking off this stuff right here, you don't need all this junk right here. Let's turn that off. Whoa, hello, hello. Whoa, I need to learn to use this thing better. There we go. Okay, so you take all this stuff off of here and you just carry this around with the little pancake lens. Fantastic. Little pancake lens around with this guy, and you could even carry it with the small rig remote handle here, and you're still not going to get near the attention that you will get with this guy right here. Am I getting everything in shot? So with this guy right here, you're going to get attention so much more, even with just carrying this camera compared to just carrying this this little remote tripod and a light on it, because you don't need a microphone on this one because you got no option for that. So you just need a light source if you're going to be in low light. This 22 millimeter f2 is pretty good at low light as well. It's no slouch in low light situations, but with that little light, yeah, you can do everything you need and get a lot less attention. Take my little tripod remote off of here. Remove this guy from here, this little bracket, light bracket or mic bracket. Hold this down and look at this little package I've got right here. It looks like a little point and shoot camera. And when I carry something like this around and I'm taking pictures of the family, nobody even pays attention to that. They're just like, oh, he's using a typical point and shoot that everybody used back before the days of smartphones taking over. I can take this off and carry it in my pocket, put this on and carry it in a bigger pocket. So yeah, if you have anything to add to that, please do. Chris out. You guys have a good day.